Morning, S1. How are you doing, guys? Well, this is Clive and I, and well, strange times, and I really miss you guys. But I thought what we would do is keep up our library period, and we were reading A Kiss for a Knave, one of Clive's favourite books. What I'd like you to do is to turn to page 131, and we're going to continue for a wee while, just reading the novel. This is a bit where Billy has been kept behind after uh, the PE the PE teacher the game of football, and he needs to get home to feed the hawk. The cold water made Billy gasp. He held out his hands as though testing for rain, then ran for the end. The three guards barred the exit. Hey up, shift, let me out, you rotten dogs. They held him easily, so he swished back to the other end, yelling all the way along. Sugden pushed him in the chest as he clung his way round the corner. Got a sweat on, Casper? Let me out, sir. Let me come. I thought you'd like a cooler after your exertions in goal. I'm frozen. Really? Go, sir. It's not right. Was it right when you let that last goal in? I couldn't help it. Rubbish, lad. Billy tried another rush. Sugden repelled it, so he tried the other end again. Every time he tried to escape, the three boys bounced him back, stinging him with their snapping towels as he retreated. He tried manoeuvring the nozzles, but whichever way he twisted them, the water still found him out, until finally he gave up and stood amongst them, tolerating the freezing spray in silence. When Billy stopped yelling, the other boys stopped laughing, and when time passed and no more was heard from him, their conversations began to peter out, and attention gradually focused on the showers, until only a trio was left shouting into each other's faces. Unaware that the volume of noise in the room had dropped, suddenly they stopped, looked round embarrassed, then looked towards the showers with the rest of the boys. The cold water had cooled the air, the steam had vanished, and the only sound that came from the showers was the beat of water behind the partition, a mesmeric beat, which slowly drew the boys together on the drying area. The boy guards began to look uneasy. Clive. And they looked across to their captain. Can we let him out now, sir? No. He'll get pneumonia. I don't care what he gets. I'll show him. If he thinks I'm running my blood to water for 90 minutes and then having the game deliberately thrown away at the last minute, he's another thing coming. There were signs of unrest and much muttering amongst the crowd. He's had enough, sir. It was only a game. Let him go. Shut up, you lot, and get out. Nobody moved. They continued to stare at the partition wall as though a film was being projected onto its tiled surface. Then Billy appeared over the top of it. Hands, head and shoulders climbing rapidly. A great roar arose as though Punch had appeared above them, hugging his giant cosh. Sugden saw him. Get down, Casper! Billy straddled the wall and got down on the dry side. There was laughing and gnashing of teeth. The three guards deserted their posts. Sugden turned the showers off, and the crowd dispersed. Billy planed the standing droplets off his body and limbs with his palms, then hurried to his peg and dabbed himself with his shorts. His shirt stuck unruttled down his back when he pulled it on, and the damp seeped through the light grey flannel, staining it charcoal. Home, straight home, and straight down the garden to the shed. He looked between the bars, clicking his tongue. The hawk lobbed off her perch and with one wing flick reached the shelf beyond the door. Billy tapped the bars, then hurried back up the path to the garage. Inside, on a bench built across the back, was a round board with bread carved in relief round its perimeter. The wood was scrubbed white, and hundreds of knife cuts had crisscrossed the surface into tiny geometrical figures. Across the board lay a knife, its blade gleaming stainless, in contrast to the ground steel of its teeth. Two brass rivets secured the handle, which was as smooth and dead as driftwood. Beside the board lay a leather satchel and a scrubbing brush, bristles up. Billy lifted the flap of the satchel and took out a greaseproof paper packet. When he opened it, a few pieces of beef were stuck to the paper like elastoplast. He sniffed the beef, then placed it on the board and went outside. He crossed to the kitchen door, unlocked it, and walked straight through the kitchen to the living room. It was cold and quiet, and darkness shaded the corners. Articles of clothing littered the furniture, their shapes determined by the weight and textures of the materials. Woolen clumps, cotton spreads, and a nylon slip slithering over one arm of the settee. On the table, used crockery was grouped about the checked cloth, like the pieces of an abandoned game. Billy knelt down and felt under the settee. He came up with a near rifle, then crossed to the fireplace and reached up to a Toby jug, looking pleased with himself at one end of the mantelpiece. He was full of lead pellets. Billy tipped him up, and a soft stream of lead poured out of the black hat into his palm. Then, as he was replacing the jug, he noticed the two half-crowns holding down a folded slip of paper next to the clock. The coins fitted perfectly, their bevelled edges corresponding to form one thick crown. He paused, his fingers still round the jug. Then he turned and walked away. Stopped and looked back at the mantelpiece. He broke the rifle open and fitted a slug, frowning and nibbling his bottom lip, and patting at the slug with his thumb long after it had snugged into position. A smear of grease stained the end of the thumb. He studied it, then lubricated the tip of his forefinger by rubbing finger and thumb together. The gun was .22 caliber, fitted with telescopic sights. Right then, odds I take it, evens I don't. He raised the rifle and aimed at the clock, the hairlines of the sights dividing the face like a hot cross bun. He panned across to the Toby jug, sighting the grin, the belly, the beer mug, then brought it back across to the money and squeezed the trigger. The top coin spun up as though tossed by a thumb, reaching its zenith as the bottom one bounced out of the hearth onto the rug. Heads, while the top one rattled and settled on the mantelpiece. Tails, and the betting slip zigzagged in ever-increasing arcs out under the table. Billy ran across to discover his luck. Shit. He dropped the coins into his jacket pocket and crouched under the table for the betting slip. As he stood up, he unfolded it. 5 shillings double, crackpot. Tell him he's dead. 5 bob. J.H. He refolded the slip and stuffed it into the same pocket as the money, then left the house and shut the door behind him. The noise made a starling fly off the gutter, making Billy glance up as he locked the door. Well, he has a bet to put on for his brother Judd, and he's got a decision to make. Does he put the money on the bet, or does he keep it? We'll find out next time. I'm hoping that you guys are staying safe and you're completing all your distance learning. I know that Firefly has been a bit of an issue this week, but it will get better, as will our situation. And we just have to look after each other at this terrible time. Till the next time, and Mr. Baroya, you come out from behind that corner because I know that you weren't listening. Speak to you soon, lads. Miss you all. Bye.